How many laps can we do this for?
We are
I don't
live.
know. No, I don't know. Let's see. Whoa, you're blinking, Joe.
Yeah, if you want to
who's
have
blinking,
that?
Joe.
I'll send you the.
I don't know. Somebody around us is blinking.
Yeah, it's Joe.
the
Unless
link
it's me.
if you want to have that.
Joe's blinking to me, though.
That right. I just sent you the link. That is to the chat. All right, I got to get some laps in. What's that? Oh, I just what I do is on one of my screens I put Discord like I drag it to the side so it's like half screen, and then I put the chat on the other half the screen. That makes sense? Yeah. It does. Yeah, and you'll notice it'll have a little Facebook image or it'll have a little Twitch or YouTube depending on who's talking to you and the person's name.
What's up, man? We'll see how it goes, man. Are you producing? Yeah. Just share your screen. I'll pull it up. I've got the sim open also, so we'll make it. Let's just try to have fun with it. It's an all-star race, you know. No need to take it too seriously or anything. Yeah. Show me the other one so I can decide. Yeah, that works. So what I'm seeing is basically the live broadcast, right? Yeah, that's fine.
That's not a very good spot to park.
It's crazy how this is like a super speedway. I just don't think that's how it's going to be in real life. I think that they're going to have to change these cars a lot in the game. Chat, -6 decibels down there. Move that. Just turn it all the way down. Yeah. Okay. Are we calling this? Go ahead. Are we calling this the SESRA All-Star Race or the iOS All-Star Race? Okay. Yeah, I mean, that must be it, right? Let me see. No, I did the Open last week. Yeah. Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it organic. Keep it conversational, and if you see something, say it. Well, I think we'll be all right. But yeah, you can call me a 3-time SESRA winner if you want, or something like that. It was all in the ARCA series. Well, yeah, I didn't win this season, so I had to do the Open. Oh yeah, I just was busy. I just didn't do it. Also, I think Max hated me at the time. Yeah, I think he recently started that. That was like a new thing this year. He had to go get some kind of certification. Are we gonna go live when qualifying starts, or what are you thinking? Yeah, qualifying's boring, so the more we can use that time to go through our intros, the better, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm open to whatever. If you want to pull people in under caution, or if somebody's sitting in the pits with 30 minutes of repair, whatever, I'm happy to talk to whoever at any time, really. Let's see. I know there's 3 neon racing cars out there that look the same. So, and then I think Logan's car looks really similar to that also, but he's not part of it. And then the intensity cars look like that also. Like the black and purple, there's a lot of that. Looks like several guys aren't going to be here. I don't see Stephen Black. Isaiah Gill just now popped on. Yeah, he's trying hard for that sponsorship, I think. My brother-in-law started the whole company, and he sold the company to some investors, but he still operates the North Carolina region. My sister's husband, yeah. So it's kind of a indirect family business. I just try to support them. And he throws me some cash every now and then for like a Trading Paints subscription or whatever. So he's sort of a sponsor, sort of, not really. Yeah, I tried. The Pelicans by him in Virginia is owned by corporate, and they're out of somewhere in Georgia, and I don't really know those guys. And he wanted kind of a lot of money for a little decal on the side of his car, so I don't know. Yeah, it was, I can't remember exactly how much. It was a couple $100 for like a little tiny sticker. Is that Chapu? 37. Yeah, we're gonna have a hard time with these purple and black cars. Yeah, it looks like the Ford and Chevy versions are actually different. I think I like the Chevy one. Oh, these paints specifically. Is my voice coming through clear? Nice. All right, so I fired up.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SCSRA All-Star Race from Michigan International Speedway. I'm D. Wright for Intensity Broadcasting. I'm joined tonight by Dylan Redding, a fellow iRacer and SCSRA All-Star in his own right last season. Dylan, talk to us about last week. Me and you were both in the shootout here at Michigan. We have 3 winners that came out of that. That'll be in the race tonight as well. Tell us about this track, the format tonight, what you're expecting to see.
Hey, David. I appreciate it. First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here with you here on Intensity Broadcasting once again. I'm just really excited for tonight as we celebrate SESRA and the drivers and the season that we just concluded. It's a chance for these guys to all get together and just have some fun in a unique format at a unique racetrack and a unique car. And I think that's really what we experienced last week. We had the All-Star Open where we ran 3 segments. And we really got a chance to see what this car could do. And I think you'll agree with me, David, that it's a challenge. This car is a handful, especially in the draft. And these guys are wide open, pedal to the metal the whole time. And it can be unpredictable. It can be sketchy out there. I think we're going to see these guys be very aggressive with one another and really just try to make something happen. They've got nothing to lose. There's no points on the line, no season-long standings. This is all about bragging rights and about being an all-star. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I think we're going to see these guys really lay it all on the line from the jump. So buckle your seatbelt, hang on tight. I think we're in for what should be an exciting display here tonight of fun racing.
Yeah, the Stock Car Sim Racing Association All-Star Race, as we mentioned before. Great way to end the summer season. A lot of drivers here tonight. It looks like we got at least 18 to 20 showing up right now in the server. So the competition will be very, very good. There is a unique flavor tonight with 3 different stages of racing. The first stage is going to be 15 laps, no cautions. That will set the field for the second stage. The second stage will be 35 laps with cautions on, but the laps under caution do not count. And then the competitors must also make a green flag stop in that second stage. They do not need to service the car, but they do need to come to a complete stop. We have a few admins that will be watching and checking on that. The competitors will call out when they pit, so that admins will be attuned to check off the check boxes of who is actually coming under green flag stops. So, and then only 10 will advance out of the stage 2 into the final stage 3, which will be a full invert of the finishing order. And that will be 10 laps with cautions on, but they do not count, and $30 going to the winner. Dylan, no fast repairs, but they get a new car at the end of each stage. So, what do you think of the format tonight? Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And one way to think about it is stage one is all about surviving and advancing and being as aggressive as possible. It's a short amount of laps. There's no cautions. It's all about surviving the mayhem and being there at the end. Stage two, with cautions back in play and with a green flag pit stop required, the theme of that is really about pit strategy and about kind of out strategizing your competition to get your car in position to be at the front towards the end. Then stage three, you put it all together. It's a short shootout, only 10 cars going for all the marbles on the 10-lap shootout, but cautions are back in play. You could potentially see some pit stops for fresh tires if something crazy happens. So I think it's an interesting way to mix different types of strategies in different stages, force these guys to think outside of the box and kind of put together a complete race across 3 stages. It's a unique challenge that these guys don't face from one week to the next during the regular season. So I think that the team did a great job putting this together, and it should be an interesting challenge for our drivers.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be a great format. Brian Merle Jr. to the top of the board right now with a 40.21. He is the fastest right now in qualifying. We'll see how that holds up as we work through the field.
Yeah, that's a great lap by Brian. And speaking to him earlier before the race, he didn't have a ton of practice in this car at this track, wasn't really sure what to expect, but clearly some things are falling into place for him as he's able to get out into the currently pole position, about 5/100ths of a second over second place. So David, I'm curious as we look through the lineup here, and I see a lot of big names, a lot of multiple-time winners here in SESRA. If you had to kind of pick 2 to say these are my picks to be there at the end, challenging in the final 10-lap shootout, going for the win, what do you think are your 2 favorites?
I would have to say with the new format of these cars, it's a bit of a toss-up because most of these guys do not run the next-gen format. So with that in mind, I got to go with some of the guys that have dominated in years past and some of just no matter what they drive. So Colin Willems is one that I would definitely look to tonight to be strong. All of the Mazes tend to be fairly strong suited on 1.5 miles. So they'll be very good tonight as well. It's really tough to narrow it down to 2, Dylan. But I think there's a lot of competitors out there, and I also think, that there may be some people that we don't see often as big winners or maybe newer names. Cameron Austin's one that won last week in the shootout he runs in the former Pelicans Super Speedway Series. So there's some names like that may surprise as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so you brought up there at the end the Pelican Snowball Super Speedway Series, and most of these guys ran in that. And I think that's an interesting comparison to what we're seeing tonight, because in that series, we had different types of cars each week at different tracks each week. And it sort of forced these guys to adapt and work through situations they weren't familiar with, which is certainly what they're facing tonight. And we saw guys like Colin Willems and Will Witt, Devin Bacino, a few other guys really rise to the top, and they were able to find their way to the front week after week. And I think that that's going to aid them tonight. So, if I had to pick 2, which was sort of the premise that I threw on you, I think I'd have to say Colin Willems, Will Witt are going to be there at the end.
Yeah, both strong competitors, and as you mentioned, these cars at this track tend to run like a super speedway, very aero-y, and it tends to be extremely racy when you get into packs. The cars can get tight if you're behind in drafts heading into certain corners. Me and you both experienced that last week in all of the stages, and we didn't have nearly as many cars out on the track as they do tonight. There was only 10, 12 cars last week. And we had plenty of action and bumping and grinding, so we expect to see a lot of that tonight as well.
Yeah, and Michigan International Speedway is a track that everyone is familiar with. It's something that we've all raced in multiple cars before, and it kind of throws you off when you race this particular car because it really, like you said, treats it like a super speedway. It's very draft dependent, and you're kind of stuck on the bottom of the racetrack, which is very different from the way other cars race here. So that takes a little bit of adjustment when after the green flag waves and you realize what you're in for. It can throw some people off. So it should be an interesting first couple laps.
Absolutely. And some of these guys, it's been a few weeks since they've raced together. Some of the leagues have split up, gone different ways as well. So some guys have raced with other competitors. It'd be interesting getting back with the old family again and seeing how that works out tonight. Should be very interesting as well. And we know there's plenty of different feuds between different drivers in the field here, all, as we've said earlier, Dylan, all former winners this season. So all very, very strong competitors.
Yeah, I think the team dynamic is going to be interesting tonight as well. We've got several large groups of team members tonight. We got Neon Racing, Intensity Racing, of course, is always there. I see several members of the Mays Mafia. So I think that given the importance of the draft tonight, I think these teams might come into play. We're going to see some people working together and helping each other out. So just another dynamic to add on top of everything else we've got.
Yep, absolutely. Qualifying has wrapped up. It looks like Brian Merle Jr. is locked into pole position for the at least first stage of this awesome event tonight for the All-Star race. So let's head down to the grid here and see what we're working with. All right, Dylan, starting on the pole, as we mentioned, Junior Nation on their feet during qualifying. Willis his way to the pole. Brian Merle Jr. driving that 74. As you talked about, a lot of similar colored paint schemes tonight. He'll be on the pole right next to Devin Bacino in the 68 machine out of Plattsburgh, New York. Cameron Austin, one of the winners in the shootout last week, going off third, right beside William Walter Witt the fifth, as you described, one of your top guys to watch tonight and one we're looking to run strong.
Starting fifth, we got Brian Canuti, Mr. Second Place himself. He's got Grumpy Cat on board along for the ride. He's going to be one to watch. He's always fast. He's always competitive. He's a multi-time winner and a seasoned veteran in this series, so looking for big things out of him. In sixth, we got Todd Mays, the highest qualifier out of the Mays family, Mays Mafia team, so to speak. Seventh, we got your brother David. We got Joseph Wright, repping Intensity Broadcasting here, one of the many common voices of Intensity. In eighth, we got TJ Floyd, who is very good at super speedways in this style of racing.
Ninth, Eddie Morris in the Chevrolet 8 machine. Outside of him is going to be Kyle Mays in that DraftKings 55, a common car we see every week during the season. In 11th, Colin Willems, one that we had both pegged tonight to run strong. We'll see how that works out. Outside of him is good friend Cody Moore in the 52 machine.
13th, we got Chris Wheeler, who could be a bit of a dark horse tonight. He's shown a lot of speed in recent races, and I think that he's got a chance tonight. 14th is the Man, Atlee Weiss. All of our listeners know him very well. He did a great job last week in the All-Star Open to get himself into this race. 15th is Bobby Mays. And 16th, we got Derek Chaput.
17th is Intensity's own Josh Hall. We all know him, mostly recognizable by not only that beautiful mug right there, but his luscious vocal cords. 18th is going to be Colton Kinsey. 19th, Logan Hagerman. And 20th is Brandon White, rounding out the field. So the lights are off on that pace car, Dylan, as we come down the backstretch.
Do you think we make it to the make it back to the line through lap 1. These guys, I think, are going to get pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, pretty racy. The first stage is short, but it's also 15 laps. So I don't know, and no fast repairs as we talked about. I don't know if this is the time to get really aggressive early. I'd like to see them kind of fan out before we get real racy, but that's not usually how it works out.
Well, the time for speculation is over. The green flag is in the air, and here we go. Brian Mill Jr. is going to lead the field across the start-finish line and into turn 1. Let's see if they can hold it together and get to the backstretch. Remember, no cautions here, so these guys are going to have to be careful. They're not going to be bailed out by a yellow flag if there's a wreck.
And it looks like we're going to get through the first corner. A lot of 2 wide, some 3 wide towards the back there. But seems to shuffle out, and looks like we're making 3 wide going down into 3 here, Dylan.
Oh, TJ saves it. That's a great save by TJ. I thought he was going around for sure. And you see here just how quick things can change. Brian Merle Jr. starting on the pole. He's going to fall all the way back to, what is that, 6th or 7th, possibly 8th place. Just in one corner, turns 3 and 4. Devin Bacino is going to cross the line as our leader going into lap 2 here.
It's Bacino and Will Witt with a race down the backstretch, heading into turn 3. Nudie not far behind, and Joe Wright tailing off in 4th there.
And, you know, the way the draft works in these cars, you'll see Will kind of unable to get all the way up to Devin's bumper. There's this, like, air bubble that sort of keeps the cars apart from each other. And what that means is if Will wants to pass Devin, he actually typically, the best way to do it is to back up a little bit to the car behind you and let him sort of almost push you back towards the leader. It's a little counterintuitive to let the leader go a little bit just to get a run back to him, but that's really what you have to do. It's kind of a unique situation that these guys are just going to have to feel out as they go.
Yeah, it's definitely a touchy situation. It's something that you have to get used to, and you'll definitely find that those that are adept at manipulating that bubble, Dylan, are the drivers that you'll see get into the best positions and set themselves up for the best runs as well.
For now, it looks like Will is mostly happy to kind of ride behind Devin here and put some laps. You know, the best thing you can do here is stay out of trouble and try to tick off some of these laps until there's 3 or 4 to go. Of course, we see Eddie Morris back there looking for the high line, trying to get a second groove together, which is certainly possible if you can get enough help. Didn't quite work that time, but I bet we'll see him try again.
Yeah, and we had mentioned TJ Floyd there at the beginning getting a little loose. Him, Brandon White, and Chris Wheeler all get connected there. And looks like they're, for at least stage 1, maybe has come to an end. So they'll pack it in for a starting spot in the back for stage 2, but still alive for tonight.
Yeah, and these leaders are mostly single file here, but if you go to the back of the pack, about 10th through 20th place, we just got a whole gaggle back here of guys running 3 wide lap after lap. And it's funny how that seems to work, David. A lot of times the hard, exciting racing tends to be towards the back.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes those guys up front have a little bit more patience, tend to work with each other and separate to get out from the field a little bit. And as you said, the guys in the back, a little bit more racy and trying to get better position.
Yeah, I think part of it's psychological. I'm sure you can agree with me, David. There's nothing worse than seeing the field in front of you, and you just feel like you got to pass them, and it can lead you to make some aggressive moves. We see Logan Hagerman here in the 7. He's got a pretty cool, almost like a retro-looking intensity paint scheme. As you said, a lot of black and purple cars tonight. But I think Logan has one of the cooler ones. I like that scheme, especially with the number in the bottom, kind of unconventional.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a little bit of a sports car feel to it almost, like the Corvettes and BMWs that they run.
So while we were talking, it looks like the field has started to bunch back up a little bit. They've caught the leaders. You see Will giving a good push to Devin there. But old Brian Jr. is going to go get underneath Will here, and that might cost Will a position. We'll see. The Neon Racing drivers are going to hook back up here and push Will out of the way. That's pretty good teamwork there to get Junior back into second place.
Yeah, definitely some teamwork there. They get Will Witt out of the way. Will has definitely a bunch of friends throughout the field, so he will find somebody to team up with and start to get back through the field. As we had mentioned earlier, an excellent racer, especially in the aero package and on the super speedways.
We see Kyle very aggressively pushing Brian from third, which can be risky. You know, as they say, don't push the pusher. That's certainly what Kyle was doing there. Brian able to hang on and get a little separation. We'll see if Kyle gets back up to him and tries to do that again. And looking through the grid, I do see that there are several cars who have been on pit road now for several laps. Derek Chaput, TJ Floyd, Brandon White are all 6-7 laps down. So as we said, there's no cautions, there's no fast repairs. So some of those guys probably got damaged a few laps ago, and they're not going to be unable to really be competitive for the remainder of this stage one.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin Willems, another one big name that we had talked about earlier, has crashed out as well. So those guys putting their eggs in the basket for stage 2, starting from the back. But again, still have a chance tonight to make something happen.
And as we suspected so far, the bottom groove has been by far the preferred line. Haven't really been able to see anybody get alongside the leaders on the high side. We see Kyle peaking low here, and that seems like that's what you're going to have to do, is get that run underneath somebody to make a pass. I haven't really been able to see anybody do it on the high side yet. Oh, we got a big wreck there.
A big wreck.
Several cars are around. Let's see who's left after this shakes out. Again, no cautions. Oh, we see Logan. Oh, Adley, big flip from Atman. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
What a ride.
That did not look good, Dylan. That was Atman, Nudie. A bunch of drivers collected there. Three, four wide,
man.
and really a chain reaction. So
Yeah, these guys are going 200 miles per hour. You see what happens when contact is made. Sometimes it can be quite the roller coaster ride.
bear with me here as we bring back the stream.